Kofi, Kingston, and Drew McIntyre battle it out to see who will face Bobby Lashley at the next pay-per-view event, Hell in a Cell. Nikki Cross has her return match against the Raw Women's Champion in Rhea Ripley. Riddle and Woods tear the house down. Adnan Virk is let go. We're going to get into this, all of the non-finishes, distraction finishes, roll-ups, and so much more right after this.
Hey, so if you guys haven't listened to the podcast Long Shot Leaders yet, you're missing out. And you may ask, what's so special about this podcast? Well, number one, it is hosted by Michael Stein. He's an entrepreneur, actor, filmmaker, comedian, and self-help expert. And he's come up with a really great idea for his show. What he does is tell stories of underdogs who found success. For example, some of his guests that he's had on, Sean Spector, he's the co-founder of Gamefly and Drop Off. Bruce Vilanch, he's a 6-time Emmy Award winner, writer, and actor. And most recently, he interviewed former WWE writer Vince Russo, and the conversation was awesome. I mean, we got insight from Vince that I have not heard from any other podcast, including what he believes makes a great wrestler, why some people can't stand Vince Russo today because of the on-screen heel character that he played, and he talked about something that means even more to him than the massive ratings that occurred during the Attitude Era. So, guys, go check out Long Shot Leaders with Michael Stein. It's available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. It's already got a perfect 5-star rating. I mean, that's unheard of with podcasts. So go check out Long Shot Leaders with Michael Stein. There is such a great diversity of hosts and topics that it will definitely inspire you, and you'll be able to find something that you can relate to. So go check out Long Shot Leaders today.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the WWE Podcast for this Monday Night Raw review here on Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. Incredible that we're almost in the month of June, isn't it? Memorial Day is this coming weekend, and hopefully you have some fun plans. It looks a little bit different, of course, than last year's disaster that we all lost. I mean, we literally all lost a year of our lives. At least our normal lives. And so this year, I hope you're making up for it. Whatever you're doing, I hope it's fun. So we're going to get into Monday Night Raw, and it's ups and downs as always. Despite the title of this show, I didn't despise this Monday Night Raw. I didn't. There were some bright spots. It felt like a bit of a rerun of a show. A lot of rematches, a lot of kind of rehashing last week. And it's not all bad. We did get a great match out of Xavier Woods and Riddle that I was really, really high on. So we'll get to that match and just the other just nonsensical stuff going on in WWE. As always, if you like the rants, well, I'm sure that one will be included here for free of charge. You guys will probably get a free rant here. So, all right. Well, before we get going, I want to give some shout outs here to the latest patrons of our show. They are, and again, this is since May 16th, and I want to make sure that I did get those individuals their shout outs. Karen Douglas, Blind Man, and Amanda Gin. I really apologize, Amanda. It's one of the two. I'm just not great at the English language. So how about this, Amanda G? Let's go with that. I can't screw that up because I know that's right. Thank you so much, Amanda and Blind Man and Karen Douglas, for your pledges for Patreon. It's much appreciated, and I hope you're enjoying your ad-free experience and a lot more, as well as the exclusive Wrestling Nostalgia show that no one else hears except you guys on Patreon. So if you're interested in joining Patreon and getting a shout out, just as you heard, and also getting that exclusive Wrestling Nostalgia show, getting the What If with Anthony DeMarco and myself. If you join the Raw tier and higher, you can get that show. And we just covered What If CM Punk Returned to WWE. That is what Anthony and myself covered yesterday. We dropped the show yesterday on Patreon for the Raw tier and higher. So if you're interested in joining, certainly do that. There's a bunch of other stuff, guys. I'm not going to go through a ton of it because you can read and you guys are smarter than I am. So go ahead and check out patreon.com/WWE podcast for all of the great benefits that you can find there. Let me know if you have any questions on that. But let's jump into Monday Night Raw. And you know what? Let's start out with a positive note. Let's start out on a positive note and not jump into the dirt that is looming there. And I will get to it. Don't worry. But I want to start out with something really great that I did not expect at all. And that is from an Xavier or Xavier. Is it Xavier with a Z, or do people say Xavier? I'll just say Xavier. Xavier is smoother, right? Xavier Woods and Riddle. This match was really, this is pay-per-view quality match. This was really good. Unexpectedly good. And should I be surprised, though? Riddle, we know how good he is in the ring. Xavier Woods, I don't think gets the credit he deserves because he's been in a tag team for nearly his entire career. So seeing him on his own was nice. And also Riddle, which he does what he does, which is brilliance generally in the ring. They were really good. I loved this match. I also love how the finish was booked with Riddle using an RKO to beat Xavier Woods. Even though Randy wasn't on the show, there was still that tie to Randy, and they did show a video package. So that was cool. I didn't expect that, and he didn't hit it as nice as Randy does. Nobody can. But it was a nice touch to a great finish and to a great match. And I can't say enough about these two individuals in this match. I hope that this is a rematch that we see again. I love them together and unexpectedly. I don't know. Did anybody else see this as a potentially great match on Raw? Probably the answer is no for most people. So credit to both men on that match. And, I don't really know what it does to further the storyline other than remind us how good Riddle is in the ring and how good Xavier can be in the ring. But also, I guess there's that continuation of Randy and Riddle, even though Randy wasn't there. There's the reminder that, hey, this connection's still happening. I think WWE, we can officially say, has recognized their chemistry and is going along with what the fans are telling them. And it's not just a very predictable ending in having Randy Orton turn on Riddle, which I think we all saw or all see. We all see coming. I'll get it out. And I think it's still something that is going to happen. It's just going to take a little bit longer to happen, and ride the wave as long as it goes, right? Until it crashes down, ride this wave. You don't often get chemistry that pops out of nowhere like this, or sometimes you think two individuals will have chemistry and it ends up being the complete opposite on screen. If you want an example of that, look at Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. When they had their tag team match a couple of years ago against, Corbin and Lacey Evans on a pay-per-view. That whole storyline was really the beginning of the end of the Becky Lynch babyface character. That was just kind of like icing on the cake. And I think that on screen they had terrible chemistry. It was bad. It was bad, and both were babyfaces at the time. So there's an example of two people that can get married, have kids, and on screen they just flat out suck together. So you just never ever know how it's going to come off when that red light turns on. But nonetheless, I went down another path that I didn't expect to talk about. But Riddle and Xavier Woods, big two thumbs up, or two big thumbs up. I don't know if I'm dyslexic tonight. Okay. Let's see, another match. I'm trying to get through the positive stuff, guys. I do. I really want to talk about some stuff that bothers me, of course. But Sheamus versus Alberto Carrillo. Sheamus wins. So once again, Sheamus is just relegated to the mid to lower card as United States champion. This is very puzzling. I'm not really angry about this, just disappointed. The fact that Sheamus, who I think, and I've said this before, is an unsung hero over the last 6 months in WWE, just gets relegated to Alberto Carrillo. And that's fine making a new star, but it feels like they have no plans for this program. It's just kind of like they just looked at them and said, hey, these two could probably do really well together in the ring. We don't have a backstory. We'll just continue to stick them in the ring together week after week after week with no end game in sight. So that's what it kind of feels like. It's a hold me over program for Sheamus. And, I was hoping that they would have had something more concrete for Sheamus after winning the United States Championship at WrestleMania, 7 weeks ago, whatever it is now. So we'll see. I know that we have, Ricochet out there trying to steal his clothes like a 13-year-old in high school. It's bizarre. But the other thing that happened on Raw, if you didn't know, WWE is going back live, like with fans. So I know that's breaking news here. I'm sure that you hope you were sitting down. I should have gave you a bit of a warning before I dropped that news on you that WWE is going back live in front of fans. Of course, I'm just being a jerk about it, but WWE promoted the hell out of it. And you know what? I'm not definitely not making fun of them or ranting on it. Just like poking fun at how much they promoted it. Again, though, I'm not against it. I think they should promote the hell out of it because it's a massive deal. It's a huge deal. I don't think people realize how big of a deal this is to bring fans back. And hopefully this is not just a 25 city tour and then they go off the road again. I hope this is permanent. I think it will be. The way that things are going with the vaccinations and the infection numbers around the United States, I think it's a great thing, and it's going to be huge. I mean, I'm sure that the Friday Night SmackDown on Fox is going to be loaded with maybe The Rock, probably John Cena as like one-offs, and so we'll have to see. But I think that this is a massive deal, and they promoted it, and they had their stars come out and do like their 2-minute promos and just cut extremely corporate promos. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They just were told to say, hey, in character, talk about how great it's going to be to have fans back. And then they're like, and action. And it's just like, and then you know what? It almost seemed like they had cue cards at times too, right? It's just, that's maybe the one thing outside of promoting the hell out of it that I could say is that, like Braun Strowman, for example, did he really call himself the conductor of the Strowman Express? I'm fairly sure he did. And then he talked about, of course, having people get these hands. He's not, I don't know what to think of him. I really don't know what to make of Braun Strowman, but whatever. I'm just moving on. But yeah, it was very corporate promos from several stars that wanted to weigh in, or WWE said, hey, you don't have anything going on tonight. Weigh in on it so fans don't forget you. That's kind of what it felt like. So, okay, moving on. And here's where I want to get into some stuff that I'm not happy with. And it has nothing to do with actual storylines per se, or really even the creative. It's about the women, and not even the women's division. I'm talking about the perception of women on Raw. And I guess by proxy, I'm talking about the women's division. And this is a larger issue that we could discuss in WWE. And perhaps I will do this. And I know I spoke with Mary Grader on Sunday, and I said we need to talk about the women's division and bring on maybe Ashley or Mimi and talk about this, because what I'm talking about is, I'll stop tiptoeing around it like a jerk. The way that the women are perceived on Raw with Lashley specifically, it really takes a step back for the women. Now, I totally understand that these women are not actually active competitors. They're not an actual part of the women's division, but they are still of the female gender, right? Like, last I checked, they were women with Lashley. And so when you have women on Raw being perceived as essentially a 2021 version of the Ho Train with the Godfather, it's not a good look for the women as a whole. And I understand they have nothing to do with the women's division, but they are still a part of the species of human beings that represent the female half of that species. Like, I know I'm getting kind of like over the top with this, but it just, I don't know. It feels very regressive to do this. And I understand that they're not labeled as the Ho Train. They weren't wearing super scantily clad outfits. I understand that. But it still felt just a little icky, didn't it? I mean, I don't need Lashley with women surrounding him with the perception and I guess the unsaid words that perhaps that they were bought and paid for Lashley to enjoy. And he kept talking about his extracurricular activities. It's a little much for me. I'm not... See, this is the exact imagery of women that we were supposed to erase with the women's evolution. And again, I understand they're not part of the women's roster. They're not active competitors. However, what we're seeing with Lashley over the last couple of weeks is what the women's division actually was for a long time. Women that were viewed as sex objects, as nothing more than eye candy, were not meant for anything other than pillow fights, outside of Trish and Lita, which were like the only two, and there were others, but those two come to mind. With the majority of women, though, just being, whoever can have the sexiest outfit or have the most sex appeal wins, right? That is what those women, to me, bring back flashes of. And I understand the women's division has made strides, big strides, and that's great. But I just think that it's a slap in the face to the women right now that are on the roster, and the perception of women as a whole. I don't know. I'm not a feminist activist, okay? I'm not getting into politics. This has nothing to do with it. It's me just wrestling as a fan. I know that politics is an extremely slippery slope, and people try to read into maybe what I say or which way I lean, which I will keep to myself, even though I have very strong opinions on politics, and it's just a dangerous thing to talk about right now. Nonetheless, I am not a big proponent of how the women are treated right now. And that even kind of is into the women's division itself, not just the really the whole train of 2021 that's with Lashley. Okay, I think I made my point. I'm going in circles. All right, so that is what I wanted to talk about with Lashley. We'll get into more of his stuff, of course, in a couple of minutes. But Kofi Kingston and McIntyre, let's talk about it. Drew McIntyre just cannot leave the title picture. He can't do it. And I don't think WWE knows what to do without Drew in the title picture, which is why they keep doing it. I think the message has been sent very loud and clear that we are tired of Drew in the title picture. I also don't think Kofi has done anything to earn it. And when he came out on Raw and said that he never got a rematch for his WWE Championship that he lost, I would say to you, my friend, it's been nearly 2 years, and you're just getting around now to realizing you never got a shot at the title you lost? Just now? Really? Well, that really shows, what's priority number one on Kofi Kingston's mind. I'm not, if you can read what I'm saying, I am not a Kofi Kingston personality fan, persona fan. I don't like the baby. I don't like anything about Kofi Kingston on the mic, nor his personality in the ring. Great, no problem. I have nothing against him. I'm not a Kofi Kingston fan at all, outside of in the ring and as an actual person. Great dude, great family man. So that's cool. But who he is in the New Day, I think he is what is the worst part of the New Day. I never enjoyed his title run, especially because he just took it and made a comedy show out of it with pancakes behind the belt and all. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a Kofi Kingston fan, and I will stand by that. And I'm sure some of you are like, come on, man, what's wrong with it? Hey, that's my opinion, right? So I'm sure that many of you are on the total opposite end of this, but that's what makes wrestling fun. So nonetheless, I really didn't almost care who won this match between Drew and Kofi. Of course, it ends in a no contest after a very suitable match, good match, as you would expect from two absolute professionals. And it gets ruined by Lashley and an MVP. However, this is where Drew McIntyre kind of looks like a fool. Drew McIntyre, in his promo, talked about, before the match, I want to point out, that if it weren't for MVP, he would still be WWE champion because of what happened at WrestleMania. To which I would say, hey, Drew, if you are the professional that you say you are, why did you get distracted by MVP screaming Lashley? That's all that happened. by the way. There's no underhanded tactics that MVP used. If you, as a professional, can't stay focused in the main event of WrestleMania with some guy that's screaming the word Lashley, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's more of a referendum on you, my friend, that you couldn't stay focused. MVP didn't try to pull your leg. He didn't use a foreign object. He didn't distract the referee. He didn't, try to manipulate the match in any way other than screaming Lashley, which he had done many times before and has done many times since. So that was just a bad argument, a bad narrative by Drew McIntyre, and I guess we're all supposed to just accept it. No, I don't accept it. You lost, and you were the fool that got distracted. So there's that. The other thing that McIntyre did that made him just kind of look like a fool again was inviting Lashley and MVP, who were up on the stage, enjoying the match from a distance, inviting them down to the stage when he should have been focusing on Kofi Kingston, as he is telling us on a weekly basis that the WWE Championship is his, that he'll do anything to get it, that it's his life, and yet you are distracted voluntarily by McIntyre or by Lashley and MVP on stage, inviting them to ringside with the knowledge, hopefully, knowing that they're now probably going to interfere in the match. Instead of just allowing them to keep their distance and make this fair one-on-one, the babyface invites the heels down to the ring during the match for the number one contendership for the prize that you are telling us is so important to you. If that was the case, why would you invite trouble ringside? It doesn't make any sense. It makes McIntyre look like a fool. So it was not a good night for McIntyre on the mic or from a logistical standpoint at all. Bad night for McIntyre. In the ring, it was fine. I mean, Kofi Kingston, again, hate his personality. I'm over the New Day, but can't deny the guy in the ring. Always a very, very smooth competitor, and respect the guy.
Hey, so if you guys haven't listened to the podcast Long Shot Leaders yet, you're missing out. And you may ask, what's so special about this podcast? Well, number one, it is hosted by Michael Stein. He's an entrepreneur, actor, filmmaker, comedian, and self-help expert. And he's come up with a really great idea for his show. What he does is tell stories of underdogs who found success. For example, some of his guests that he's had on, Sean Spector. He's the co-founder of Gamefly and Drop Off. Bruce Vilanch. He's a 6-time Emmy Award winner, writer, and actor. And most recently, he interviewed former WWE writer Vince Russo, and the conversation was awesome. I mean, we got insight from Vince that I have not heard from any other podcast, including what he believes makes a great wrestler, why some people can't stand Vince Russo today because of the on-screen heel character that he played, and he talked about something that means even more to him than the massive ratings that occurred during the Attitude Era. So, guys, go check out Long Shot Leaders with Michael Stein. It's available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. It's already got a perfect 5-star rating. I mean, that's unheard of with podcasts. So go check out Long Shot Leaders with Michael Stein. There is such a great diversity of hosts and topics that it will definitely inspire you, and you'll be able to find something that you can relate to. So go check out Long Shot Leaders today.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
It was not a good night for McIntyre. And of course, what happens, we get the old bumping into each other, and somebody comes from the top rope and lands on the people at ringside who are doing commentary, whatever. It's a very tried and true formula. Well, it's tried. I don't know if it's true, but it is. It's a very used formula, I should say, for lack of a better word. So that then brings in Lashley and MVP to cause a disqualification, and we get Trouble in Paradise on Lashley, who then gets Claymored, and of course we get Lashley, as Lashley's laid out, McIntyre and Kofi Kingston go backstage to Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce. Here's why I actually was really happy about what they did here. When typically what happens is, if you've been watching wrestling for any length of time, when you have a number one contendership for a championship, and you have a non-finish between two competitors because the champion themselves interjects themselves into the match to cause a DQ, hoping that there is no winner so they don't have to defend the belt. I mean, typically, that is the logic. However, we all know that that is never the case. And what normally happens is, when you see a finish like that, you're thinking to yourself, well, here comes a triple threat, right? That's normally the formula for that type of finish. And I'm thinking, oh God, triple threat, McIntyre, Lashley, and Kofi at Hell in a Cell. So when Adam Pearce said that, in fact, no, we're going to redo this match, and next week it's going to be a rematch between Kofi and McIntyre, the winner will face you at Hell in a Cell, I was exuberant. I said, my God, we're actually going to get a finish. Now, does that mean we still get a finish? No. Does that mean that somebody else can't interfere, as MVP and Lashley are barred unless they want to get a 90-day suspension? No. Something else could happen where there's still a non-finish and we get a triple threat anyway. It's still possible, and it's, you know what, probably likely. But at least for one night, we got sound logic in not just using the triple threat as a crutch for WWE's inability to have confidence, or inability to create stars that have confidence enough to have a one-on-one match and not always lean on three guys or three women. And this was great. So at least for one night, there was some sane logic there. Okay. So let's move on here. Nikki Cross defeats Rhea Ripley in a 2-minute beat the clock challenge. Okay. Nikki Cross came back during the Lumberjack match, I think it was. She was spotted. And now she interrupts Rhea Ripley and Charlotte and says that, you know, basically challenges either one. And Charlotte said, "You're not worth my time," which is actually kind of funny. I'm sure she, in some ways, believes it. But Rhea Ripley says she'll take her up on that challenge and she'll beat her in 2 minutes. And of course, Rhea Ripley did not win, which actually was surprising. You know, I'll say that, of course, not of course, but surprisingly, Rhea didn't win this match because she lost track of time. And that caused Nikki Cross to win by default. And, you know, as I read the review of Raw from, and I'll give credit where it's due, CBS Sports. CBS Sports does a nice coverage of Monday Night Raw. So credit to them on this. And their note on this match says, and this is actually a good point, one has to assume there's a reason for the weird match and finish for Cross versus Ripley. That reason is likely just to get Flair versus Cross in a beat the clock challenge next week, so Flair can try to one-up Ripley. Yes. I think that is absolutely right. Again, quoted from CBS Sports. That is, I think, exactly right. We're going to have this one-upsmanship between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I think that is probably what's going to happen. We'll play some schoolgirl games. We'll talk about getting in people's heads and sending messages and all that kind of stuff, because we have to do it. And that's all people do, apparently, is just send messages and make statements and play head games, mind games. If we could take mind games and messages and statements out of the vocabulary of the announcers, I think that you know, the announcing would be infinitely better immediately, because it feels so corporate, doesn't it? Such corporate speak. It's anyway. I rant on this many times. This was a weird match, though. Nikki Cross back is nice. She's still the giddy schoolgirl. I was hoping she would align herself with Bliss, which, by the way, she did not show her face on Monday Night Raw, which was surprising. You know, I thought Bliss would be on Raw, but apparently we are still nearly 2 months removed from Mania, still not able to identify who her target is going to be. I'll get to that later with Reginald and all that stuff. I'll get to that and my thoughts on it. But fine, if they're going to do the one-upsmanship. But by the way, are Rhea Ripley and Charlotte both heels right now? If they are both heels, why am I supposed to care who wins, right? That's how they're positioning them. You know, even though to me, the way that they have done this, Charlotte Flair is the babyface. What exactly has she done that we're supposed to hate? Tell us to bow down, call herself the queen. None of that is valid to me to boo this woman. She feels authentic. I've listed off and rattled off the reasons for a couple of weeks now as to why Charlotte Flair is effing awesome right now. She's got an edge to her. She doesn't try to play the babyface, which is always a weird feeling, like when Seth Rollins does it. She's tweaked her look with the straight hair and the modified gear, calling herself the Opportunity. She feels like a different person right now. And again, if we're going to go off of the shallow reasons of, oh, well, she's the queen, I would say to that, well, you have a couple of women here right off the top of my head that are equally, if not more arrogant in their slogans, in their marketing, in their nicknames, in the Empress of Tomorrow and the EST of WWE. There's a couple right there. The EST, right? That is the most arrogant possible character that you could come up with. Why? You're telling us you're the best, you're the fastest, you're the quickest, you're the smartest. You're the est of everything. Yet, she's still likable. So don't give me that garbage from WWE or anybody that tries to spew that argument towards me. That, well, we're tell her to bow down. Give me a break. We've heard the bow down crap for years. That's in and of itself is not enough of a heat generator for me. So tell somebody out there, please tell me, why are we supposed to hate Charlotte Flair right now? I can't come up with a reason. I can come up with several reasons as to why Rhea Ripley is unlikable right now. Number one, she feels uncomfortable. She doesn't look right as champion yet. She immediately got the belt upon her return to the main roster. She has not cut great promos. She's had a couple of sloppy matches with Asuka. It's not been a good run for Rhea Ripley with the Raw Women's Championship. So it just is, it's a weird feeling right now with the women. So Nikki Cross, obviously wins this match, and we'll probably get the one-upsmanship from next week with Charlotte and Nikki Cross. That's my feeling anyway. Okay, Reginald and Lily and the tag team championship match that ended Raw. It's funny. I said I can't even remember the last time a tag team championship main evented a televised event, and here we go. The women's tag team championship match main evented Monday Night Raw. So that was cool. I have no problem with it. And I don't know if somebody in WWE is listening to this and just said, we're going to get him, because this never happens. So it was Natalya and Tamina defeating Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax via pinfall. And guess how Natalya beat Baszler? I bet you can't guess. If you guessed small package, boy, I know that's a long shot finish, and you'd be right. It's unbelievable. These small package roll up finishes are absolutely overused, and that's what happened, of course. And Baszler was angry at Reginald for coming to ringside because she told him not to before the match started. And of course, we get some weirdness at the end here with Reginald going up the ramp and then having basically Kane's pyro go off. I mean, this is all Kane. Like, I know that they won't ever reference Kane because he has nothing to do with the storyline, but this is Kane's pyro. Basically, a wall of flames comes up for Reginald, who gets blinded and sent backwards. Now, I don't know who. I mean, we all know it's Alexa Bliss behind this, but is she really targeting Reginald, or is she using Reginald as a tool to target Shayna Baszler? And perhaps that's more of the case. And it feels like Shayna Baszler's starting to slowly come out of the tag team here. I think that the screams of get her out of the tag team are ringing very loudly. I feel that probably Nia Jax is trying to scrape and claw and do everything she can to hang on to Shayna Baszler, because she's been the most relevant she's ever been in her career. And Shayna Baszler, I think, was brought down to, I think, where most fans feel she could be and has been. Is it a demotion, or was it a demotion for Shayna Baszler? In one respect, yes. In another respect, her and Nia did add a lot of value to the Women's Tag Team Championships, and that is their claim to fame. So if that was the goal, mission accomplished. But now it's time to move Shayna Baszler out, and I think that's what they're doing here. with this kind of side story. And Shayna did challenge Reginald to a match next week. I'm sure Alexa Bliss will make her presence known there. But I do believe this is actually a target, not on Reginald, but really on Shayna Baszler. So perhaps that's who she's targeting. And maybe that will turn Shayna Baszler babyface, I guess. So we're going to see a babyface Shayna Baszler against a heel Alexa Bliss, I would think, because you can't do Reginald. I mean, Reginald is the punching bag of the women's division, who's never, ever able to retaliate because, hey, you can't ever have men retaliate against women, even if they're sitting there kicking and scratching and clawing. Nope, can't do it, which is a whole load of crap. But nonetheless, we got a fine match here. I have no problem with the match itself. It's kind of exactly what you'd expect, and Tamina and Natalya retain. So, moving on here to Jackson Riker defeats AJ Styles via pinfall after a boss man slam. The finish came, again, I'm reading from CBS Sports, also because this was not on Hulu. The finish came after Elias ran in to hit Styles with a knee while the ref was distracted. After the match, Omos ran in for the save, taking out Elias, but driving him into the LED board. Oh boy. Okay. This is scary where AJ Styles is right now. It's scary. I don't remember a time when AJ Styles was not on the Hulu version of Raw. And this is AJ Styles we're talking about. The guy that carried the WWE several years ago and had a match of the year candidate with John Cena opening SummerSlam several years back. A guy that was the face that ran the place, was an excellent WWE champion, and found Omos, and that's fine. I think they've been entertaining, but they took a month off from after WrestleMania, or at least, in other words, Creative had nothing for them for a month. And they come back, and they're still irrelevant. They aren't on the pay-per-view for, what was it? Not Hell in a Cell, but Backlash. They weren't on Backlash. So this is a scary place that AJ Styles is in, losing to Jackson Riker. It's downright scary. Now, of course, the way he won, wasn't exactly the, on the up and up. I get that. But man, Jackson Riker, the guy that is the clone of Elias that takes the pinfalls, beat AJ Styles. What? I mean, do they not have any plans for AJ Styles at all anymore? I guess they just don't know what to do with him. They're putting him in matches that don't mean anything with Elias and Jackson Riker. That's how you know you're at the bottom of the tag team. But at the same time, it also shows you the depth of the tag team division, which is essentially that there is no depth. It is paper thin. So that is also a problem. Boy, oh boy. Okay, Cedric Alexander defeats Shelton via pinfall after a neuralizer. Not a neutralizer, but a neuralizer. Benjamin was firmly in control when Alexander used the thumb to the eye to set up his handspring kick for the stolen win. So, we saw this match coming, 6 months ago, when they just had issues off the bat and then dissolved the Hurt Business for no good reason. Yep. Does anybody care? Unfortunately, the answer is no. It's sad. This is as far as you can fall for these two. It really is. So, all right. Asuka versus Charlotte. Again, these two, you always know you're going to get a really good match. You always do. But how did this match end? Guys, let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Roll up. Well, to be more... To clarify, it was a reversal that led to the back and forth, and this was a reversal on the Asuka lock, where she just essentially did like a fisherman's suplex position pin. I don't know what you call this move actually, but it was the equivalent of a roll up. So again, great, really not great, but really good match with these two. You always know it's a shoo-in to have a good match. And I'm fine with Charlotte getting the victory, but again, here comes 50-50 booking, as last week Asuka gets the victory, and this week Charlotte gets the victory. This is 50-50 booking, my friends. Why? I don't know. We'll see. I guess it's tit for tat, and Charlotte gets her win back. So I don't need everybody on streaks all the time. I don't know. I don't know how you can build anybody by trading wins back and forth. So we'll see what happens next week. I don't know. I'm ready for Asuka to kind of take a break. I'll say that. Just take a break, go away for like a month, 2 months, and come back for SummerSlam. So, this was really about the Hell in a Cell build a little bit, a little wonkiness, of course, to get your roll-ups. It was an okay Monday Night Raw. Again, the regression of the women's division that was surrounding Bobby Lashley, I was not a fan of, as you know. I think that was really just disrespectful to the women's division. The stupidity of Drew McIntyre, as I mentioned, was just off the charts this week in 2 separate massive incidents that made no sense for his character to do. And his argument about WrestleMania was just unfounded. It was really just a total disaster for McIntyre. And I think that the fans, had there been fans, and now we can finally say when there are fans in a month and a half, WWE is going to get a big wake-up call for certain things. I can't wait. I personally can't wait until we get the fans back to be the sounding board for WWE Creative. No longer can they just pump in what they want and play God. No longer will cinematic matches be a thing. Money in the Bank will be the first pay-per-view back in WWE in July. So Extreme Rules is not in July. It is in... I don't know when Extreme Rules in, but Extreme Rules probably is going to be the month after. Money in the Bank is July, so this is kind of a wonky summer as they tried to throw a pay-per-view schedule together that best fits a live audience. So I get why they're doing it. I would agree with what we're setting up here. Excuse me. So, all right. Well, I think that covers the Monday Night Raw for last night on May 24th, 2021. So if you guys enjoyed this, please give us a subscribe on, we actually are on YouTube, and on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Really does help us, I promise. I really appreciate everybody listening. And if you want that ad-free experience, of course, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Get yourself signed up for $1. Everything's ad-free. You get a shout-out. You get a Discord server that you can join us on for pay-per-views. It's a private VIP server, and we can chat. There's tons of stuff. Mug. There's a t-shirt in certain tiers. Guys, it's just loaded with stuff. So head on over there if you want it. Exclusive shows that you don't hear here on the free feed. So thank you to everybody who listens and supports the show. Much appreciated. Please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And as always, I will talk to you next time.
Hey, so if you guys haven't listened to the podcast Long Shot Leaders yet, you're missing out. And you may ask, what's so special about this podcast? Well, number one, it is hosted by Michael Stein. He's an entrepreneur, actor, filmmaker, comedian, and self-help expert. And he's come up with a really great idea for his show. What he does is tell stories of underdogs who found success. For example, some of his guests that he's had on, Sean Spector. He's the co-founder of Gamefly and Drop Off. Bruce Vilanch. He's a 6-time Emmy Award winner, writer, and actor. And most recently, he interviewed former WWE writer Vince Russo, and the conversation was awesome. I mean, we got insight from Vince that I have not heard from any other podcast, including what he believes makes a great wrestler, why some people can't stand Vince Russo today because of the on-screen heel character that he played, and he talked about something that means even more to him than the massive ratings that occurred during the Attitude Era. So, guys, go check out Long Shot Leaders with Michael Stein. It's available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. It's already got a perfect 5-star rating. I mean, that's unheard of with podcasts. So go check out Long Shot Leaders with Michael Stein. There is such a great diversity of hosts and topics that it will definitely inspire you, and you'll be able to find something that you can relate to. So go check out Long Shot Leaders today.